I turned on the wrong mic.
Oh, so we were just talking and no
Yeah,
one
yeah,
could
yeah.
hear us. Oh, that's great.
It's okay. We figured it out. Yeah, we were just talking about how great J Action is, and that he's going to keep Umbridge in check. Other than that, really didn't miss much.
Yeah, and that
He
we
was just
decided
about
to read the chapter after the Ministry of Magic chapter because it's a good lead up, and we just read that one, so now we're going to read the trial today because why not? Oh well, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Welcome. Oh, ouch. So yeah,
Trying to get comfortable.
this is
There we
going to
go.
be our first introduction to Umbridge.
Yes, this is the first time big fan of my fudge voice. Oh boy. I have to remember how I did it. I haven't done it in a long time.
It was close to Vernon's, but
Yeah,
not
I think
quite.
I got it in my head. I think I got it in my head. Pretty well.
You
Hopefully.
know, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Dumbledore.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Mind you. Yeah, there it is.
It was like
It'll come.
Vernon's, but less nasally.
Yeah. It'll come naturally to you. I'll get it back. Don't worry.
Hey, Tom.
It'll make its way back to me, I think. That's kind of I think that's what it is. It's this.
Yeah, that's
What it is. It's fudge. Corn fudge. Ah, Katie made it. Yay!
It's the best part about doing the Saturday live streams.
Everyone can make it.
Yeah. We do it earlier, so whether you're in the US, UK, EU,
it's
a relatively decent time.
My reading is better than Jim Dale's. Oh, wow. Woo. What a compliment. Oh.
I need to listen to the Jim Dale audiobook just to see, because everyone always says that you're reading so much better, and I don't know.
See, I grew up
I would
listening.
say yours is great, but I've never listened to Jim Dale, so I don't know.
I grew up listening to the Jim Dale versions because those are the US versions, and everyone in the UK listens to the Stephen Fry versions, which I have not listened to.
Mm.
So I don't know how Stephen Fry sounds. But I do have Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows on like old school audiobook like CDs.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say cassette
No,
for a second. I was gonna
no.
say, wow.
I know. Oh, well, our Princess Tale live stream was at like 7 p.m. So I knew.
Yeah.
I was sad you couldn't make it either, Katie, but I was just like, there's no way she would have.
We knew it was going to kind of be a crazy night, so instead of making it for a time where we may or may not have been able to make it, we had to push it back a little bit.
See, Katie says she likes Fry better. He's not bad, it's just she's a ton better. Oh,
when you said that, I had to look over, because at first I thought you meant she said that Fry was better than you. I'm like, oh wow, burn.
Well, he's a professional. I mean, I would, but if they both, I'm better than both of them. Oh my gosh, woo! Maybe it's just because I love the characters just so much, and I like making them sound like what I think they sound like. I don't know.
Maybe
in my head, I don't know. Hi, Ren. Hi, Melanie. That's all good. If there are some spelling errors in your messages, we will understand.
Yep, don't worry. It happens. We've had people from all over the world where English is not their first language. So we know how to read between the lines.
Last time on the Half-Blood Prince discussion, we had people confused about why it had to be Voldemort that had to kill Harry. That was like a big proponent of the conversation. And then people trying to get into the Snape debate.
Yeah, we
had to not go there because it's just so easy to go there every time. People talking about how what he did to Neville is inexcusable. Oh, but he did good at it. Just all like it just kept happening. We're like, we can't do the Snape. This is not what it's about. You can never avoid the Snape.
No.
No, it always happens. I swear.
Snape shows up, it's always there.
McGonagall yelling at Umbridge is my favorite reading.
It's still one of my favorite scenes.
It's so good. Great. Cough drop, Dolores.
Do you remember your Miss Fig voice?
No.
Oh, so we're just gonna wing it.
We're winging Mrs. Fig today because I have no idea. I don't remember. Some of those minor characters, I don't remember.
Mm.
And then when we do read Voldemort chapters, I have to do the serious Voldemort voice, not the silly Voldemort voice that I do all the time. Wormtail! I can't do that one.
Why not?
Because it's not what is required for Voldemort chapters.
That's fair enough.
It wouldn't flow well with, like, the Dark Lord Ascending chapter.
That's fair.
Oh, I know. I feel like Mrs. Fig is who I would become if, like, I was single and never had children. And at the age of, like, 90, I feel like
you'd be Miss Fig.
I would probably be Mrs. Fig.
You would be Umbridge, but it wouldn't be a cover. That's just who you would be.
The kitten thing?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be pink, though.
Fair enough.
But there would be kittens, cat stuff everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Her
bag does make a good weapon. All those cans of cat food.
Oof.
Ow.
I've dropped those on my toes before.
Yeah, not fun. Not good.
Now, do you think there's actually cat food in there? Or is it some magical potions, like a magic grenade?
She's a squib, so no.
Well, yeah, but she can purchase said magical objects.
She could, but it's cat food.
Okay.
Her whole thing is that I think she's like low-key secretly breeding Measle cat hybrids. That's why her cats are so smart.
Maybe.
Because she put Mr. Tibbles on guard duty or whatever.
Measle, like, black market sales there, breeding them.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
McGonagall's got her gambling. She's got her
cat black market operation. Yeah.
Her Measle farm. Hey, Methan. Long time no see. How you been?
Yeah, they're Measles. Yeah,
they have to be Measles. No cat is that smart. Sorry, Jackson. Except you. Oh. But I'm pretty sure you're a Measle.
What about all the rest of the cats?
They're lovely, but
Parmpants is his sister. How can he be a Measle and not her?
Okay, fair enough.
What about Dibble Buns? She could be a Measle.
Squib seems to have connection to cats.
That's true, because Filch is a squib and he's got Mrs. Norris.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're just a squib.
Maybe.
Your mom is a witch and she just didn't tell you because she didn't want you to feel bad.
Right. I'm just oblivious.
Yeah.
I'm just a squib. That's why I have... Oh, there's kitties. Oh, there's kitties. Lovely kitties. I missed out on a lot of your stuff, but I always enjoyed it. I've been lazy over the holidays. Starting to get back into uni, learning stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's all good. Everyone's got to be lazy sometimes.
It wasn't lazy over the holidays.
For real. Maybe it is. Maybe it is the only way they can connect to magic. I mean, cats are...
Right. Yeah, I knew it. You were about to say, because cats are magical after all.
They are. Cats are magical. You can see it in every fiber of their being.
Crookshanks and Mrs. Nort, that would be a great fan fiction. Have, like, their interactions.
I'd like to think they must have, with Crookshanks going back and forth visiting Sirius
Mm.
all the time on the grounds and stuff, he must have run into Mrs. Norris at least once.
Miss Norris trying to catch him and him slipping away every time or something.
Right? He's like, what are we talking about?
We got into this squib discussion. I don't remember how we got here.
Because we're doing the chapter where Harry has his trial, and Mike brought up Mrs. Fig.
Oh yeah,
and that's
right.
how it started.
Okay.
And all her cats, and it just kind of went from there.
I guess snap back, because I don't remember how long this chapter is, so maybe we should jump in.
Yeah, we might want to. It's a decently long chapter, I think.
You okay, Jet? You look so uncomfortable right now. He won't lay down, he has to stand up with his back legs.
My ear is really itchy right now. This chapter stresses me. I could see it, because this whole exchange in the very beginning with Fudge and Harry is very just like,
Right, that's another thing. Now that we know that Fudge kind of goes over to the dark side a bit and everything, I wonder what we're going to be able to pick apart.
I didn't take too many notes this time, but I definitely think there's stuff in here, and if you catch something that I did not note, by all means. Yeah, right? Fudge is very annoying in this chapter. He's fucking obnoxious. Can't stand him. But it is so great when Dumbledore just throws it down right back in his face. That's
the moments that
satisfying.
Make Dumbledore great makes up for the "I should have told you sooner" moments.
Were we talking about that in The Prince's Tale, where Snape is like, "Are you gonna tell me why Harry Potter needs Godric Gryffindor's sword?" And Dumbledore's just like, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah,
just literally just, no, nope, not gonna.
Not today.
Yeah, Dumbledore's great in this chapter. This whole book is full of great Dumbledore moments.
Dumbledore just is a great moment.
This one particularly, though, is just full of Dumbledore just laying people out over and over. It's good. In a different way than Dumbledore is good in, the next book.
Well, yeah.
Alright, are we ready? Are we all ready?
I'm ready. Jackson seems ready.
Jackson's ready? Okay, we're ready. Let's roll. Chapter 8. The Hearing. Harry gasped. He could not help himself. The large dungeon he had entered was horribly familiar. He had not only seen it before, he had been here before. This was the place he had visited inside of Dumbledore's Pensieve, the place where he had watched the Lestrangers sentenced to life imprisonment in Azkaban. The walls were made of dark stone, dimly lit by torches. Empty benches rose on either side of him, but ahead, in the highest benches of all, were many shadowy figures. They had been talking in low voices, but as the heavy door swung close behind Harry, an ominous silence fell. A cold male voice rang across the courtroom. "You're late." "Sorry," said Harry nervously. I didn't know the time. I didn't know the time had changed." "That is not the Wizengamot's fault," said the voice. "An owl was sent to you this morning. Take your seat." Harry dropped his gaze to the chair in the centre of the room, the arms of which were covered in chains. He had seen those chains spring to life and bind whoever sat between them. His footsteps echoed loudly as he walked across the stone floor. When he sat gingerly on the edge of the chair, the chains clinked rather threateningly, but did not bind him. Feeling rather sick, he looked up at the people seated at the bench above. There were about 50 of them, all, as far as he could see, wearing plum-coloured robes with an elaborately worked silver W on the left-hand side of the chest, and all staring down their noses at him, some with very austere expressions, others looks of frank curiosity. In the very middle of the front row sat Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. Fudge was a portly man who often sported a lime green bowler hat, though today he had dispensed with it. He had dispensed, too, with the indulgent smile he had once worn when he spoke to Harry. A broad, square-jawed witch with very short grey hair sat on Fudge's left. She wore a monocle and looked forbidding. On Fudge's right was another witch, but she was sitting so far back on the bench that her face was in shadow. "Very well," said Fudge. "The accused being present, finally, let us begin. Are you ready?" he called down the row. "Yes, sir," said an eager voice Harry knew. Ron's brother Percy was sitting at the very end of the front bench. Harry looked at Percy, expecting some sign of recognition from him, but none came. Percy's eyes, behind his horn-rimmed glasses, were fixed on his parchment, a quill poised in his hand. "Disciplinary hearing of the 12th of August," said Fudge in a ringing voice, and Percy began taking notes at once. "Into offences committed under the Decree for the Reasonable Restriction of Underage Sorcery and the International Statute of Secrecy by Harry James Potter, resident at No. 4 Privet Drive, Little Whinging, Surrey. Interrogators: Cornelius Oswald Fudge, Minister of Magic; Amelia Susan Bones, Head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement; Dolores Jane Umbridge, Senior Undersecretary to the Minister; Court Scribe Percy Ignatius Weasley. Witness for the defence, Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore," said a quiet voice from behind Harry, who turned his head so fast he cricked his neck. Dumbledore was striding serenely across the room, wearing long midnight blue robes and a perfectly calm expression. His long silver beard and hair gleamed in the torchlight as he drew level with Harry and looked up at Fudge through the half-moon spectacles that rested halfway down his very crooked nose. The members of the Wizengamot were muttering. All eyes were now on Dumbledore. Some looked annoyed, others slightly frightened. Two elderly witches in the back row, however, raised their hands and waved in welcome. A powerful emotion had risen in Harry's chest at the sight of Dumbledore, a fortified, hopeful feeling rather like that which Phoenix Song gave him. He wanted to catch Dumbledore's eye, but Dumbledore was not looking his way. He continued to look up at the obviously flustered Fudge. Ah, like Phoenix Song. Very nice. Very nice. Connecting Dumbledore there.
Dumbledore's always connected some way with a phoenix, I feel like, whenever he enters a scene.
There's always some kind of, like, phoenix description something.
Yeah.
"Ah," said Fudge, who looked thoroughly disconcerted. "Dumbledore, yes, you got our, message that the time and, place of the hearing had been changed then." "I must have missed it," said Dumbledore cheerfully. "However, due to a lucky mistake, I arrived at the Ministry 3 hours early, so no harm done."
The sass.
I know. It's great, right?
And it just shows how dirty Fudge is playing at this point.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it too much, but later on you just see how he's going downhill real quick.
Yeah, this is so...
He didn't want Dumbledore there at all.
Nope. He wanted Harry to miss it so he could just axe him, get rid of him.
Worst case scenario, he shows up and then we just, go through the process. But at least Dumbledore isn't here.
Right.
But, oh no.
Now he's here.
A wizard arrives never late or early, but precisely when he means to.
Right? "Yes, well, I suppose we'll need another chair. Weasley, could you—" Not to worry, said Dumbledore pleasantly. He took out his wand, gave it a little flick, and a squashy chintz armchair appeared out of nowhere next to Harry. Wow, Dumbledore, showing off too, no less. Let's make this really fancy, nice chair out of just nowhere. Great. Dumbledore sat down, put the tips of his long fingers together, and surveyed Fudge over them with an expression of polite interest. The Wizengamot was still muttering and fidgeting restlessly. Only when Fudge spoke again did they settle down. "Yes," said Fudge again, shuffling his notes. "Well then, so, the charges. Yes." He extricated a piece of parchment from the pile before him, took a deep breath, and read. The charges against the accused are as follows. That he did knowingly, deliberately, and in full awareness of the illegality of his actions, having received a previous written warning from the Ministry of Magic on a similar charge, produce a Patronus charm in a Muggle-inhabited area in the presence of a Muggle on August the 2nd at 23 minutes past 9, which constitutes an offence under Paragraph C of the Decree for the Reasonable Restriction of Underage Sorcery, 1875, and also under Section 13 of the International Confederation of Wizards Statute of Secrecy. You are Harry James Potter of No. 4 Privet Drive, Little Whinging, Surrey? Fudge said, glaring at Harry over the top of his parchment. Yes, Harry said. You received an official warning from the Ministry for using illegal magic 3 years ago, did you not? Yes, but... And you conjured a Patronus on the night of the 2nd of August, said Fudge. Yes, said Harry, but knowing that you are not permitted to use magic outside school while you are under the age of 17. Yes, but knowing that you were in an area full of Muggles. Yes, but fully aware that you were in close proximity to a Muggle at the time. Yes, said Harry angrily, but I only used it because we were... The witch with the monocle on Fudge's left cut across him in a booming voice. You produced a fully fledged Patronus? Yes, said Harry, because a corporeal Patronus... A what? Said Harry. Your Patronus had a clearly defined form. I mean to say it was more than vapour or smoke. Yes, said Harry, feeling both impatient and slightly desperate. It's a stag. It's always a stag. Always, boomed Madame Bones. You have produced a Patronus before now? Yes, said Harry. I've been doing it for over a year. And you are 15 years old? Yes, and you learned this at school? Yes, Professor Lupin taught me in my 3rd year because of the... Impressive, said Madame Bones, staring down at him. A true Patronus at that age. Very impressive indeed. Oh my God, Harry. Poor Harry.
I feel frustrated for him.
Right? It's so just like...
Let me...
It's so aggravating.
And also, hello, Kyle, and hello, Angela. Dumbledore flip his hair and snap sassily. I like that.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Some of the witches and wizards round her were muttering again. A few nodded, but others were frowning and shaking their heads. It's not a question of how impressive the magic was, said Fudge in a testy voice. In fact, the more impressive, the worse it is. I would have thought, given that the boy did it in plain view of a Muggle. Those who had not been frowning now murmured in agreement, but it was the sight of Percy's sanctimonious little nod that goaded Harry into speech. I did it because of the Dementors, he said loudly before anyone could interrupt him again. He had expected more muttering, but the silence that fell seemed to be somehow denser than before. Dementors? Said Madame Bones after a moment, raising her thick eyebrows so that her monocle looked in danger of falling out. What do you mean, boy? I mean there were 2 Dementors down the alleyway, and they went for me and my cousin. Ah! Said Fudge again, smirking unpleasantly as he looked round at the Wizengamot, as though inviting them to share the joke. Yes, I thought we'd hear something like this. Dementors in Little Whinging? Madame Bones said in tones of great surprise. I don't understand. Don't you, Amelia? Said Fudge, still smirking. Let me explain. He's been thinking it through and decided Dementors would make a very nice little cover story. Very nice indeed. Muggles can't see Dementors, can they, boy? Highly convenient, highly convenient. So it's just your word and no witnesses. I'm not lying, said Harry loudly, over another outbreak of murmuring from the crowd. There were 2 of them, coming from opposite ends of the alley. Everything went dark and cold, and my cousin felt them and ran for it. Enough, enough, said Fudge, with a very supercilious look on his face. I'm sorry to interrupt what I'm sure would have been a very well-rehearsed story. Dumbledore cleared his throat. The Wizengamot fell silent again. I just highlighted this little exchange because it is literally foreshadowing the moment in Umbridge's class when he they're talking about not using spells, and Harry gets really pissed off, and he says, "Oh, I don't know who we'd have to defend ourselves against. I don't know, maybe Lord Voldemort." And she just basically is like, "You need to stop lying," and blah blah blah. And that's how he gets his
Dementors again.
And that's how he gets his detention. It's very, very similar to this exchange here, and Harry will have to go through that.
Before we get into that, I do want to point out, so you know how in the movie Harry's using Lumos in the beginning of this underneath his blanket to read his book?
That's in Azkaban.
Is it in Azkaban?
The Azkaban movie, but yeah.
Okay, well, people are like, well, why didn't he get caught then? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess the director felt that the Lumos spell wouldn't get detected by the trace, because in this book he uses Lumos to find his wand before he does the Patronus,
right,
to save himself from the Dementors, but they never mention that. So his reasoning was that the Lumos spell is too weak of magic to be detected. It flies under the radar.
Interesting.
How do you... I wanted to see how you feel about that.
I feel like, given the fact that Harry produced a Patronus, the Lumos is... This is also a manufactured incident to get Harry to do magic.
That's true.
Yeah. That's kind of what I just said. The Patronus is like a much bigger deal than just doing Lumos, that they don't care about the Lumos.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't, sound too good. He made a Patronus, a full, yes, and Lumos.
Right. I think the Patronus is just such a much bigger deal that they just went with it.
But fun fact, that's how the director justified him using Lumos in the beginning of Azkaban.
I mean, not a bad angle to try to use.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think it works, but not a bad angle. Yeah, the Lumos charm is just like, who cares?
Yeah.
He produced a Patronus. Who cares about the other thing? Doesn't work for me. Sorry.
Didn't really work for me either, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
The whole thing was done to make a point in the first place. They aren't even using correct legal proceedings. This is true.
That's true. They sent an owl this morning.
Well, I mean, the whole situation was fabricated anyway. To get, like, the whole situation out of the gate is bad. But at least the director tried, I guess.
Looking for that loophole.
It's not a loophole. There's no loopholes in Harry Potter.
I said looking for the loophole. I didn't say found it.
I mean, because then you could also argue, okay, well, the hover charm is pretty innocuous, like Lumos, that Dobby uses, but Harry still got a warning for that. And he didn't even do the magic. So
yeah, but Dobby did multiple spells. He disappeared.
Yeah, but they don't try. That's elf apparition. That's not wizard apparition. They wouldn't detect that.
They detected the elf magic, though. They just wouldn't be able to
hover
tell
charm.
that it was...
They detected the hover charm, but elf apparition is fundamentally different than wizard apparition.
I thought all elf magic was different, so I
not necessarily.
It would just all be not the same.
Not necessarily.
Anyways, I just wanted to do that.
No.
You made your point about this next discussion.
Oh no! All I had was that it was nice foreshadowing about Harry being like, "I'm not lying. This happened." And then it's gonna happen again later with Umbridge, and he literally says, "I'm not lying."
And he's saying it to Umbridge. I did like the dark and light imagery where Umbridge is just in shadow. Harry can't see her.
Yeah.
How ominous.
Yeah, I know, right?
So she can lean forward. So, Mr. Potter.
Yeah, it's good, right? Dumbledore cleared his throat. The Wizengamot fell silent again. "We do, in fact, have a witness to the presence of Dementors in that alleyway," he said. "Other than Dudley Dursley, I mean." Fudge's plump face seemed to slacken, as though somebody had let air out of it. Someone let air out of it. Like they had to let air out of Aunt Marge. He stared down at Dumbledore for a moment or two, then, with the appearance of a man pulling himself back together, said, "We haven't got time to listen to more taradiddles, I'm afraid, Dumbledore. I want this dealt with quickly." "I may be wrong," said Dumbledore pleasantly, "but I am sure that under the Wizengamot Charter of Rights, the accused has the right to present witnesses for his or her case. Isn't that the policy of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, Madam Bones?" he continued, addressing the witch in the monocle. "True," said Madam Bones. "Perfectly true." "Oh, very well, snapped Fudge. "Where is this person?" "I brought her with me," said Dumbledore. "She's just outside the door. Should I—" "No, Weasley, you go," Fudge barked at Percy, who got up at once, hurried down the stone steps from the judge's balcony, and hastened past Dumbledore and Harry without glancing at them. A moment later, Percy returned, followed by Mrs. Figg. She looked scared and more batty than ever. Harry wished she had thought to change out of her carpet slippers. Ah, Mrs. Figg.
Why would you, when they're so comfy?
Right?
Elves can learn magic from their masters. That's why Griphook gets upset in 7, saying that wizards won't teach magic to the goblins. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. So maybe house elves just got mad too, and they're like, fine, we're going to make our own magic where we can apparate out of your spells.
The Potter books are full of Christian allegory and symbolism. The trial of Jesus before his crucifixion was also without correct legal proceedings. That is true. Nice. Nice. Dumbledore stood up and gave Mrs. Figg his chair, conjuring a second one for himself. "Full name," said Fudge loudly, when Mrs. Figg had perched herself nervously on the very edge of her seat. "Arabella Doreen Figg," said Mrs. Figg in her quavery voice. "And who exactly are you?" said Fudge in a bored and lofty voice. "I'm a resident of Little Whinging, close to where Harry Potter lives," said Mrs. Figg. "We have no record of any witch or wizard living in Little Whinging other than Harry Potter." "Oh, sorry. Wrong character. My bad." "We have no record of any witch or wizard living in Little Whinging other than Harry Potter," said Madam Bones at once. "The situation has always been closely monitored, given past events." "I'm a squib," said Mrs. Figg. "So you wouldn't have me registered, would you?" "A squib, eh?" said Fudge, eyeing her closely. "We'll be checking that. You'll leave details of your parentage with my assistant Weasley. Incidentally, can squibs see Dementors?" he added, looking left and right along the bench where he sat. "Yes, we can." Fudge being a prejudiced douchebag right now.
Right.
Really showing his, pure blood leniencies right there. Wow. Can squibs even see Dementors? Wow, Fudge. What an asshole. Fudge looked back down at her, his eyebrows raised. "Very well," he said coolly. "What is your story?" "I had gone out to buy cat food from the corner shop at the end of Wisteria Walk, shortly after 9 on the evening of the 2nd of August, gabbled Mrs. Figg at once, as though she'd learned what she was saying by heart. "When I heard a disturbance down the alleyway between Magnolia Crescent and Wisteria Walk. On approaching the mouth of the alleyway, I saw Dementors running." "Running?" said Mrs. Bones sharply. Madam Bones sharply. "Dementors don't run, they glide." "That's what I meant to say," said Mrs. Figg quickly, patches of pink appearing in her withered cheeks. Gliding along the alley toward what looked like 2 boys. What did they look like? Said Madam Bones, narrowing her eyes so that the monocle's edges disappeared into her flesh. Well, one was rather large, and the other one rather skinny. No, no, said Madam Bones impatiently. The Dementors. Describe them. Oh, said Mrs. Figg, the pink flush creeping up her neck now. They were big and wearing cloaks. Harry felt a horrible sinking in the pit of his stomach.
Describe them. Big, I think clothes, maybe cloaks on.
Reminds me of Fargo when the police are interrogating the 2 prostitutes and they're like, I don't know, the one guy was big and the other one was kind of funny looking. What do you mean? I don't know, just kind of funny looking. He's a funny looking feller. Like, Harry felt a horrible sinking in the pit of his stomach. Whatever Mrs. Figg said to the contrary, it sounded to him as though the most she had ever seen was a picture of a Dementor, and a picture could never convey the truth of what these beings were like, the eerie way they moved, hovering inches over the ground, or the rotting smell of them, or that terrible rattling noise they made as they sucked on the surrounding air. A dumpy wizard with a large black moustache in the second row leaned close to his neighbour, a frizzy-haired witch, and whispered something in her ear. She smirked and nodded. Big and wearing cloaks, repeated Madam Bones coolly, while Fudge snorted derisively.
Surprised they didn't use this as a moment to frame it on Hagrid. Oh, we can get the half-breed out of here now.
Yeah, right.
Must have been Hagrid.
Hagrid's involved.
Case closed.
Big? That sounds like Hagrid.
Cloak? I've seen him wear cloaks.
I see. Anything else? Yes, said Mrs. Figg. I felt them. Everything went cold, and this was a very warm summer's night, mind you. And I felt as though all the happiness had gone from the world, and I remembered dreadful things. Her voice shook and died. Madam Bones's eyes widened slightly. Harry could see red marks under her eyebrow where the monocle had dug into it. What did the Dementors do? She asked, and Harry felt a rush of hope. They went for the boys, said Mrs. Figg, her voice stronger and more confident now, the pink flush ebbing away from her face. One of them had fallen. The other was backing away, trying to repel the Dementor. That was Harry. He tried twice and produced a silver vapour. On the 3rd attempt he produced a Patronus, which charged down the first Dementor, and then, with his encouragement, chased away the second from his cousin, and that was what happened, Mrs. Figg finished, somewhat lamely. Madam Bones looked down at Mrs. Figg in silence. Fudge was not looking at her at all, but fidgeting with his papers. Finally he raised his eyes and said rather aggressively, That's what you saw, is it? That was what happened, Mrs. Figg repeated. Very well, said Fudge. You may go. Mrs. Figg cast a frightened look from Fudge to Dumbledore, then got up and shuffled off toward the door again. Harry heard it thud behind her. Not a very convincing witness, said Fudge loftily. Oh, I don't know, said Madam Bones in her booming voice. She certainly described the effects of a Dementor attack very accurately, and I can't imagine why she would say they were there if they weren't. But Dementors wandering into a Muggle suburb and just happening to come across a wizard, snorted Fudge. The odds on that must be very, very strong, even very, very long. Even Bagman wouldn't have bet. Oh, I don't think any of us believe the Dementors were there by coincidence, said Dumbledore lightly. The witch sitting to the right of Fudge with her face in shadow moved slightly, but everyone else was quite still and silent. And what is that supposed to mean? Asked Fudge icily. I think it means that I think they were ordered there,
said Dumbledore. I think we might have a record of it if someone had ordered a pair of Dementors to go strolling through Little Whinging, barked Fudge. Not if the Dementors are taking orders from someone other than the Ministry of Magic these days, said Dumbledore calmly. I have already given you my views on this matter, Cornelius.
You know, just to go back to the Dumbledore said calmly, this is another point in the story where I think in the movies it was a little overacted. I didn't think about it because I forgot about Dumbledore said calmly.
Mm-hmm.
But he does not act calm in that courtroom. Not quite as outrageous as
No, but he's definitely
Goblet.
not channeling Dumbledore here at all. But, you know, of course, the actor didn't read the books, so, you know.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Kind of is.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Kind of is.
Yes, you have, said Fudge forcefully. And I have no reason to believe that your views are anything other than bilge, Dumbledore. The Dementors remain in place in Azkaban and are doing everything we ask them to. Then, said Dumbledore quietly but very clearly, we must ask ourselves why somebody within the Ministry ordered a pair of Dementors into that alleyway on the 2nd of August. In the complete silence that greeted these words, the witch to the right of Fudge leaned forward so that Harry saw her for the first time. He thought she looked just like a large pale toad. She was rather squat with a broad flabby face, as little neck as Uncle Vernon, and a very wide slack mouth. Her eyes were large, round, and slightly bulging. Even the little black velvet bow perched on top of her short curly hair put him in mind of a large fly she was about to catch on a long sticky tongue. The chair recognises Dolores Jane Umbridge, Senior Undersecretary to the Minister, said Fudge. The witch spoke in a fluttery, girlish, high-pitched voice that took Harry aback. He had been expecting a croak. I'm sure I must have misunderstood you, Professor Dumbledore, she said with a simper that left her big round eyes as cold as ever. So silly of me, but it sounded for a teensy moment as though you were suggesting that the Ministry of Magic had ordered an attack on this boy. She gave a silvery laugh that made the hairs on the back of Harry's neck stand up. A few other members of the Wizengamot laughed with her. It could not have been plainer that not one of them was really amused. If it is true that the Dementors are taking orders only from the Ministry of Magic, and it is also true that 2 Dementors attacked Harry and his cousin a week ago, then it follows logically that somebody at the Ministry might have ordered the attacks, said Dumbledore politely. Of course, these particular Dementors may have been outside Ministry control. There are no Dementors outside Ministry control, snapped Fudge, who had turned brick red. Dumbledore inclined his head in a little bow. Then undoubtedly the Ministry will be making a full inquiry into why 2 Dementors were so very far from Azkaban, and why they attacked without authorization. It is not for you to decide what the Ministry of Magic does or does not do, Dumbledore, snapped Fudge, now a shade of magenta of which Uncle Vernon would have been proud. Of course it isn't, said Dumbledore mildly. I was merely expressing my confidence that this matter will not go uninvestigated. He glanced at Madame Bones, who readjusted her monocle and stared back at him, frowning slightly. I would remind everyone that the behaviour of these Dementors, if indeed they are not figments of this boy's imagination, is not the subject of this hearing, said Fudge. We are here to examine Harry Potter's offences under the decree for the reasonable restriction of underage sorcery. Of course we are, said Dumbledore. But the presence of Dementors in that alleyway is highly relevant, given Clause 7 of the decree states that magic may be used before Muggles in exceptional circumstances, and as those exceptional circumstances include situations that threaten the life of the wizard or witch himself, or witches, wizards, or Muggles present at the time of the... We are familiar with Clause 7, thank you very much, snarled Fudge. Of course you are, said Dumbledore courteously. Then we are in agreement that Harry's use of the Patronus charm in these circumstances falls precisely into the category of exceptional circumstances it describes. If there were Dementors, which I doubt— You have heard from eyewitnesses, Dumbledore interrupted. If you still doubt her truthfulness, call her back, question her again. I am sure she would not object. Not, blustered Fudge, fiddling with the papers before him. I want this over today, Dumbledore. But naturally you would not care how many times you heard from a witness if the alternative was a serious miscarriage of justice, said Dumbledore. Serious miscarriage, my hat, said Fudge at the top of his voice. Have you ever bothered to tot up the number of cock and bull stories this boy has come out with, Dumbledore, while trying to cover up his flagrant misuse of magic outside of school? I suppose you've forgotten the hover charm he used 3 years ago. That wasn't me, it was a house elf, said Harry. You see? Roared Fudge, gesturing flamboyantly in Harry's direction. A house elf in a muggle house, I ask you! The house elf in question is currently in the employ of Hogwarts School, said Dumbledore. I can summon him here in an instant to give evidence if you wish. I haven't got time to listen to house elves. Anyway, that's not the only— He blew up his aunt, for God's sake! Fudge shouted, banging his fist on the judge's bench and upsetting a bottle of ink. Wow, Fudge. You and Voldemort have something in common. Don't got no time for house elves.
I was about to say, there we go. Strike 2 for Fudge's prejudice.
Right? It's all here. And you very kindly did not press charges on that occasion, accepting, I presume, that even the best wizards cannot always control their emotions.
Not to mention, I think Aunt Marge might fall under exceptional circumstances, too.
Right. Said Dumbledore calmly, as Fudge attempted to scrub the ink off his notes. And I haven't even started on what he gets up to at school. But as the Ministry has no authority to punish Hogwarts students for misdemeanors at school, Harry's behaviour there is not relevant to this inquiry, said Dumbledore, politely as ever, but now with a suggestion of coolness behind his words. Oh, said Fudge. Not our business what he does at school, eh? You think so? The Ministry does not have the power to expel Hogwarts students, Cornelius, as I reminded you on the night of the 2nd of August, said Dumbledore. Nor does it have the right to confiscate wands until charges have been successfully proven, again, as I reminded you on the night of the 2nd of August. In your admirable haste to ensure the law is upheld, you appear, inadvertently I am sure, to have overlooked a few laws yourself. Laws can be changed, said Fudge savagely. Of course they can, said Dumbledore, inclining his head. And you certainly seem to be making many changes, Cornelius. Why, in the few short weeks since I was asked to leave the Wizengamot, it has already become the practice to hold a full criminal trial to deal with a simple matter of underage magic. A few of the wizards above them shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Fudge turned a slightly deeper shade of puce. The toad-like witch on his right, however, merely gazed at Dumbledore, her face quite expressionless. As far as I am aware, however, Dumbledore continued, there is no law yet in place that says this court's job is to punish Harry for every bit of magic he has ever performed. He has been charged with a specific offence, and he has presented his defence. All he and I can do now is to await your verdict. Dumbledore put his fingertips together again and said no more. Fudge glared at him, evidently incensed. Harry glanced sideways at Dumbledore, seeking reassurance. He was not at all sure that Dumbledore was right in telling the Wizengamot, in effect, that it was about time they made a decision. Again, however, Dumbledore seemed oblivious to Harry's attempt to catch his eye. He continued to look up at the benches where the entire Wizengamot had fallen into urgent whispered conversations. Harry looked at his feet. His heart, which seemed to have swollen to an unnatural size, was thumping loudly under his ribs. He had expected the hearing to last longer than this. He was not at all sure that he had made a good impression. He had not really said very much. He ought to have explained more fully about the Dementors, about how he had fallen over, about how both he and Dudley had nearly been kissed. Twice he looked...
The way you paused after that. They tried to kiss us. You don't understand.
Twice he looked up at Fudge and opened his mouth to speak, but his swollen heart was now constricting his air passages, and both times he merely took a deep breath and looked back at his shoes. Then the whispering stopped. Harry wanted to look up at the judges, but found that it was really much, much easier to keep examining his laces. "Those in favour of clearing the witness of all charges," said Madame Bones's booming voice. Harry's head jerked upward. There were hands in the air, many of them, more than half. Breathing very fast, he tried to count, but before he could finish, Madame Bones had said, "And those in favour of conviction?" Fudge raised his hand, so did half a dozen others, including the witch on his right, and the heavily moustached wizard, and the frizzy-haired witch in the second row. Fudge glanced round them all, looking as though there was something large stuck in his throat, then lowered his hand. He took 2 deep breaths and then said, in a voice distorted by suppressed rage, "Very well, very well. Cleared of all charges." "Excellent," said Dumbledore briskly, springing to his feet, pulling out his wand, and causing the 2 chintz armchairs to vanish. "Well, I must be getting along. Good day to you all." And without once looking at Harry, he swept from the dungeon.
Dumbledore will walk in there, fuck shit up, walk out.
Yep.
That's exactly what he did.
Yep.
It was Dumbledore with the mic drop. Oh, man.
Oh.
It's so funny to come back to this and just see, like, the beginning of Fudge's reign of terror.
Ugh, it's awful.
That whole Dumbledore speech, well, you don't have any power at Hogwarts, yada yada. And he's just there like, oh, you just wait, Dumbledore.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just wait.
That's why Rowling makes a point, I think, to say laws can change, and after Dumbledore says that, she makes a point to describe that Umbridge is just deadpan. Just, that's it.
Fudge can't. You just wait. I will.
There's a lot. I think there's just a lot of foreshadowing in this chapter.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that Harry sees Fudge and Dumbledore interacting with each other since the end of Book 4, when Dumbledore is trying to tell him that Voldemort's back, and Fudge is like, nope, nope. And they reach the parting of the ways, and now you see that the divide is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's not even like Fudge has any sort of defense other than just, I'm not listening to you. You know? There's like no justification. It's not like there's... You could kind of see his side of why he might believe this. It's just nothing but denial. Just, no, you're wrong. And that's it.
Yeah. It's like, it's much easier for a person to keep belligerently arguing the wrong side even when they know they're wrong, rather than admitting that they're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Fudge is kind of doing. He's just digging his heels in even deeper and deeper. And sees Harry as a political opponent that he wants to get rid of. Somebody that could make things uncomfortably bad for Fudge.
Right. Gotta think, though, how sad is that? Full-grown man in politics for how long is worried about this 15-year-old boy?
Because he's out there saying Voldemort's back. Can't do that. Can't panic people. That's not right.
Yeah, but when you bring so much attention to the situation, it's one of those things where he's kind of helping Harry's case by even combating Harry on this.
Well,
if he was just like, oh, 15-year-old kids, they're gonna say what they want to say. You have fun, buddy. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, he's just talking, shit. It's nothing. There's no credence behind what Harry's saying.
Right. The fact that he's making such a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's making it worse.
100%.
Yeah. Fudge is such a douchebag in this chapter. He's so awful.
Name a chapter where he isn't.
That's true.
Exactly.
He's a politician, after all.
He's like that one person at work, every job has it, where they're just a total a-hole. But they've been an a-hole for so long that people are just like, it's just their personality. That's how they are.
At the end of 4, when Crouch Jr. gets the Dementor's kiss, did Fudge order the kiss, or were they planning on questioning him first? Fudge has him kissed, and that's why they fight. Because Dumbledore says we could have questioned him, we could have gotten a lot of information out of him.
Fudge didn't want to hear what information he may have had.
Fudge just suppressed everything by having him kissed. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I can double check real quick, but I'm pretty sure...
I thought that's how it was. I thought Fudge
ordered
down. It.
I gotta get my English copy out. I don't have an American hardcover of the 4th book anymore.
You don't have what?
I said I gotta get my English version out because I don't have an American copy of the 4th book anymore.
You have a Japanese? No, only 3rd.
I'm only up to 3, yeah. Which, guess I need to get the Japanese version of Goblet of Fire now too, don't I?
Did that just come out or something?
What?
Of Goblet of Fire?
No, these are originals from the 1, 2, and 3 are originals from when the books came out.
Oh, first editions?
Don't know if they're first editions. They could be.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
I think the my Philosopher's Stone at least is.
Oh, hey, Kayla. Yes, good day to you, or good evening.
Let me find this real quick.
Because in the trial, Fudge says the Dementors only ever act on ministry orders. That's true, but we also, Dumbledore is right that he's not the only one giving them orders. And it kind of brings up something like, how do you speak to Dementors? How do you give them orders? Can you just tell them to do something, or is there some magical way of telling them to do something, or is there a translator, like a Dementor parcel mouth? Oh, well, good morning then, Kayla. Wonder if Fudge did that deliberately. And yeah, Melanie, I think Fudge definitely did it deliberately.
Snape says, I also love that Snape does not call him Minister Fudge or whatever. Snape says, when we told Mr. Fudge that we had caught the Death Eater responsible for tonight's events, said Snape in a low voice, he seemed to feel his personal safety was in question. He insisted on summoning a Dementor to accompany him into the castle. He brought it up to the office where Barty Crouch... I told him you would not agree, Dumbledore, stormed Professor McGonagall. I told him you would never allow Dementors to set foot inside the castle, but... My dear woman, roared Fudge, who likewise looked angrier than Harry had ever seen him. As Minister for Magic, it is my decision whether I bring protection with me when interviewing a possibly dangerous... But Professor McGonagall's voice drowned Fudge's. The moment that thing entered the room, she screamed, pointing at Fudge, trembling all over,
It swooped down on Crouch and... Harry felt a chill in his stomach as Professor McGonagall struggled to find the words to describe what had happened. He did not need her to finish her sentence. He knew what the Dementor must have done. It had administered its fatal kiss to Barty Crouch. It had sucked out his soul through his mouth. He was worse than dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
I feel like he definitely did it on purpose.
Yeah, 100%. He's been trying to keep this whole Voldemort thing and deny, and this is one person who could confirm what Dumbledore's been saying this whole time. So, oops. Wasn't me. It was the Dementor. He was hungry.
I mean, Snape, in just the way that Snape explains it, Snape is like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Personal safety, my ass.
Pretty much.
Mr. Fudge.
The Mentor was hungry. What? You tell him no. I'm not telling him no.
I think it was definitely on purpose.
Yeah, Fudge definitely ordered the kiss then. That's what I'm believing. And I think there's clear evidence to say
I think so.
Fudge definitely did.
I don't think that Dementor would have just... You could read it as the Dementor just got carried away, but, like... If they're under Ministry control, you would think Fudge would have stopped. Because then Fudge is like, well, he was a madman. We know he killed people. What does it matter? He's, like, defending what happened.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was really an accident...
To play devil's advocate here,
I feel like if it was really an accident, though, Fudge would have said, it just happened, I couldn't stop it.
Well, no, I was going to play devil's advocate and go along with what he's saying. I mean, it could just be that, you know, who cares? He was a madman. He's trying to just shrug it off because he doesn't... Maybe the Dementor didn't do that under his command, and he doesn't want to admit that he doesn't have control over the Dementors.
That's what...
Oh, did they just
That's
say
what Katie just said.
Oh, okay.
I think this could be the first sign that they can't be controlled.
Yeah.
That could... I guess you could read it either way.
Mm-hmm. I think he ordered it, though, because I think he would want to cover up the fact that Voldemort's back. There's really this Death Eater. Maybe he walked in there and Barty Crouch Jr. told him some stuff that he didn't want to hear, that Voldemort was back, and he was like, well, I can't let this get out, so...
Yeah.
I think there's 1,000,001 reasons, but... I think it's either he didn't order it, and he didn't want to admit that he doesn't have control over the Dementors.
Right.
Or he ordered it because he doesn't want to admit that he doesn't have control over the Dementors. And that, oh, maybe Voldemort is giving them orders.
Well, Voldemort, I don't think at this point would be giving them orders, because Voldemort just came back.
Oh, maybe not Voldemort, but I think...
But...
his henchmen...
Fudge has just been told, like, Voldemort's back, there's this Death Eater who helped bring Voldemort back, you gotta come see him. And I think Fudge thinking, what? I can't, if this dude gives testimony, then I can't cover the shit up, I can't lie about it because I'll have actual evidence. So yeah, covering it up is definitely plausible. But yeah, either way, Fudge sucks.
Yeah.
He stinks.
Exactly.
I mean, Fudge stinks badges. Good morning, Kayla, by the way. Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, pretty much. Either way, Fudge is terrible. Awful.
But I think you could definitely read it whatever way you want to read it.
Yeah. I think there's room for interpretation, and I think either way, you can be right.
I agree.
Based on the evidence given.
I think
maybe if we read through the entire thing again, we could pick out little bits that would make it lean one way or the other. But
I could see it being Fudge. Fudge had ordered it, but you know, maybe the Dementor still was not like, you know, behaving as it should be. I don't know. So it could be a control issue.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you could read it both ways. Either way, I just wanted to see if Fudge was lying about the Dementors during the trial.
I don't think Fudge actually. Well, actually, I know Umbridge.
Well, we know
admits to doing it, but did she do it under Fudge's orders, or was she working independently to order the Dementors? That's why I can't remember. I want to say I don't think Fudge was involved in this situation. I think he's just in so much denial he doesn't want to believe that it actually happened. And I think Umbridge was the one.
Oh, he wants to get Harry.
Yeah.
He wants to get him.
But I don't see Fudge. Fudge is an idiot.
No, I see Fudge saying to Umbridge.
Evil.
I see Fudge saying to Umbridge, manufacture a situation.
Yes.
Manufacture a situation, and maybe Umbridge being like, what can I do? I'm going to send Dementors.
I don't even see him doing that. I just see him mentioning, like, we need to catch Harry Potter on something. He can't be going around. We need to catch him on something.
And Umbridge
just takes it in her own hands, like, well, if I can manage to get Harry Potter.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like
I think Fudge is just an idiot in complete denial. That's kind of how I pictured Fudge throughout all of this. I don't think he's smart enough to come up with these schemes.
Fudge is... I think the whole thing about the Dementors being under Ministry control completely is him trying to convince himself that it's all under control. Mm-hmm. Lying to himself. At this point, I feel like the Dementors, for the most part, still kind of under Ministry control, but they're starting to lose their grip on them. I think Fudge is lying to himself. I think he could be, if...
or, we could refer back to Jurassic Park. He never had control. That's the illusion. Thought he did.
I think it's always been that way with the Dementors. I think the Dementors have always been an illusion of control.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, and hello, Anna.
I think where the Dementors are concerned, the only reason they stay at Azkaban is because they give them enough souls to suck on.
Yeah.
It's a very precarious, rickety situation, and there is no real control there, which is why they peace out as soon as the opportunity.
He never knew I ordered the Dementor. Okay, so yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Fudge never knew that Umbridge ordered the Dementors.
Okay. So, yeah, he probably said something, and Umbridge was just like...
She overheard it and
saw... I'm gonna do this. Fudge was probably just complaining.
Yeah.
About Harry and Dumbledore, and Umbridge was like, let's get this little shithead out of the way.
Exactly. And, after we get him out, I can say that it was me and maybe get a promotion or something.
Yeah, probably.
Like I said, I don't...
That's how Umbridge operates. So
however you look at Fudge, I don't see him as a master criminal, evil person. No. I think he's just a complete idiot.
He's the person that allows evil to thrive and grow. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't want to confront it and he wants to deny it and he just wants to maintain the power that he has.
Yeah.
And that's it. at all costs, no matter what. So he's complicit in evil.
Exactly.
Um,
Which 100% I agree. I just don't think he himself is an evil person.
yeah. I don't know if he's evil, but he's definitely prejudiced.
Never said he was a good guy either.
Pro pure blood. Like, he kind of sympathizes with...
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like, Voldemort is evil. He'll go out and he'll, kill mudbloods and half-breeds and stuff. I don't think Fudge would do that, even though he, doesn't like them.
But he will turn a blind eye and allow it to happen. Which
makes him a bad person.
Right.
But not necessarily evil.
I think there are degrees of evil.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I do love that she has a photo of Fudge on her desk in the movie and then turns it over before going to torture Harry. That was a great little moment. I remember that, where she's just like, he doesn't need to see this. He doesn't need to know. What time is it where we are? It is 3:12 p.m. Because we are also in New York. Not New York City, but we are in the state of New York. So Melanie and us are pretty much on the same... We're on the same time schedule. Time. Yep. We're just a couple hours away from each other. Which, if we ever go back to the city, we'll have to let Melanie know when we're going.
I mean, probably Comic-Con next year.
Yeah, we'll probably go to Comic-Con next year.
Mm.
It'd be cool to have a booth, wouldn't it?
That would be pretty cool.
Have a little setup.
I don't know how much it is to actually...
It's actually not that expensive to rent a booth.
What?
It's really not.
At Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it's like a few $100, I think. I mean, maybe it's...
Not quite that upstate, Melanie. But
yeah, not that far. Upstate. We are about an hour or so south of Syracuse. That's where we are.
Although, do love Lake Erie. Spend some time up there.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
Arizona time. Nice.
Now, is that mountain or Pacific?
Arizona?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I feel like that's right on the border there.
I could look it up real quick.
Arizona is... Well, you were talking about it. Mountain time. Okay. You were talking about how you wanted to, after watching Better Call Saul, you want to live in, like, Arizona, New Mexico area.
Not Arizona, New Mexico.
They're right next to each other.
But like they're very...
same landscapes. Similar landscapes, not exactly the same.
Very different states, though.
Fine.
Very different. Mountain time is just a time zone.
Yeah.
It's just a time zone. How many time zones do we have?
4.
4. We have 4.
We have East, Central, Mountain, and Pacific.
Yep. Because we are such a large country.
Yeah.
We contain a lot.
Well, at least a wide country.
Yeah, we're pretty wide. That's yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I really have anything else about this chapter specifically, because it's pretty... Listened to you guys read this chapter yesterday twice. Oh, nice. Hopefully, my reading today resembled my reading over a year ago, whenever I read it. 4 times in 48
Kyle,
states.
I guess I gotta ask, though, Kyle, did she get Fig's voice right?
Oh, yeah. Did I do Fig the same way? Because I didn't remember how I did her last time. Oh, maybe 5, because she thinks Maine crosses into maritime. Like, the tip.
Oh, maybe.
You might be right. And I think Alaska and Hawaii each have it.
You crushed it. Nailed it.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Figs was different, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Nice.
Oh, you guys just had daylight savings.
I'm going to look it up now. Okay. We have Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific.
Oh, never mind. Figs was different.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't think I did. And then there's Alaska Standard Time and Hawaii Standard Time.
Oh, well, I knew Hawaii was different.
So technically we have 6, if you count Alaska and Hawaii.
Okay.
There you go.
See, I thought Alaska still fell in the Pacific time zone, but I guess I was wrong.
I think Alaska is so... It's way far... Yeah, see how much further away it is? 1, 2, 3, 4... And then Alaska is, like, way up there.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have 6.
Yes, we will put up the rest of order.
Yes, we're working on getting the entire book series out. Oh!
Just wanna... Actually, let me see real quick. If I put up all the ones I downloaded the other day.
Just what I need.
Still have a couple more upload I can do today.
We're working on it. Regina's like, yes, exactly what I need for being sick in bed. Harry Potter. Harry Potter is the fix for everything. Right, Bobans? Ready to Bobans? Ready to Bobans?
I mean, I feel ya on that. My thing's Jurassic Park, though. That's my comfort listening.
My comfort thing is The Office.
Yeah, it is.
Which I can't have right now because we don't have Peacock, but I don't want to pay for it. It's dumb.
Just buy the DVDs.
I just want to buy... Yeah, I should just get the DVDs and call it a day. That's what I want when I'm sick, is just put on The Office. Yes, feel better. By the way, yes, feel better. I love that there's a Harry Potter. I just restarted your reading of Goblet of Fire when the notified. Nice.
Perfect.
So for soup tea.
Oh, just before we go on anything else. So wait, some parts of Australia have daylight savings and some don't? That must get super confusing.
What? Okay.
That's just like...
Why do we even have daylight savings time anymore? I feel like there is no point. It should just all go away.
Yeah, probably.
There's no point.
I'm cool with the fall back. Fall, like, yeah, give me an extra hour.
No,
I'll take it.
yeah, but the spring ahead is bullshit. No, I don't want that.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Wow. It just seems...
Australia, more and more... I'm sorry, I'm itchy. Melanie's got this down with the time zones.
Right?
Hawaii and Arizona don't do daylight savings.
Oh, I didn't know Hawaii didn't do that.
That's cool.
Or Arizona.
See,
Oh.
Hawaii knows what's up.
Look at that, I'm learning all new things today.
I wish we had it because the sunshine is up at 4:30.
Ooh.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh.
That's rough.
Although, when I get to work, like when I leave for work right now, it's still kind of dark. And then by the time I get to work, it's kind of light outside.
I would like to spend some time in Norway, though. Just because in certain parts of Norway, they have the region where it's like just light for 24 hours during the summer solstice.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 24 hours of night in the winter. But it'd be kind of cool to experience. I don't know if I'd like to do it every single year, but
I mean, Alaska kind of has some of that.
Yeah, it does.
Where it's
I think certain parts of Alaska have it.
And in certain parts of Alaska, it's like dark for days.
Yeah.
And then it's daylight for days.
Yeah.
I would love to move to Alaska. See, I would live in Alaska. I would live in New Mexico. Norway is super cool.
Oh, I mean, see,
that's the thing about it getting dark by 3:30 is it gets dark by 3:30 like right now still, and I'm like, I still need to do stuff with animals, and I can't see.
See, I'm just like, I hate it because then at like 6 or 7 o'clock, I'm like, I can go to bed now. Dark for 4 months at a time, and then light for 4 months. Maybe that's what that's what I'm thinking of. That's crazy. I don't know if I'd like that.
That makes sense with Hawaii. They're just so close to the equator. They don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
There's
really
fluctuation. Yeah. Desert rat through and through. Nice. I'm a New Yorker. I am.
Oh, really?
I think so.
You don't... What about Alaska? How badly you wanted to go there?
I want to go... Well, I feel like there's... The thing about Alaska is I feel like there's a lot of really, really crazy right-wing people up there, and...
You know, forget about that. I have heard horror stories about the size of the mosquitoes up there.
Yeah.
In the summertime.
And it's getting worse because everything's warmer for longer, and there's more ice melt.
That's true.
Oh boy. Who's this? Lola. It's Lola.
Oh, you were Googling the hours of Hawaii? You know what's really cool is, forget what day it is, whether... Which equinox? Well, I guess it'd be either equinox. On noon, on the equinox in Hawaii, people took like pictures and of these the posts next to a gas station, and there's like no shadow, and it just looks weird, like it's not rendered properly.
Interesting.
Because the sun is directly overhead at
that
point.
Right.
So things kind of look.
I saw
weird.
that. I think you showed me that.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm always down for a good story.
While Kayla types her story, I am going to throw it out here. Our next stream will be Thursday, so you guys got to tell us what chapter you want us to read next.
I know some people dropped a chapter in our last live stream, so if you already did, we'll look at those.
But, yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, by all means, let us know. Because I'm pretty open for whatever.
Me too. I mean, the only thing we have, like, planned is we're going to do the Madame Puttyfoots around Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Our Valentine's Day live stream. Other than that...
Yeah, we don't really...
We're set.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're open to any and all suggestions.
Any book you want. And Katie, I will always read the first chapter of Half-Blood Prince. Oh my god, it's so good.
Sectum Sempra.
Oh!
I know you would say yes to that.
That's such a bloody chapter.
Is that the chapter where Harry attacks Draco in the bathroom?
Yep. Yeah. Lola has a raccoon tail. Yeah, she kind of does. Little bits on the end. See, I'm showing everyone, Lola. I'm sorry.
She doesn't like that.
I know.
Raccoon. Oh, I love raccoons too. I fell in love with them at a zoo one time, and I was like 5, and I'm admitting to breaking the law here. The big sign that said "Do not feed them," but I had a bag of Cheetos, and they really like Cheetos, just so you know. And I would throw it to it, and I loved how like they have like little people hands.
They do.
They would like pick it up and eat it like a person. And I was throwing them Cheetos, and thought how cool these animals are.
Raccoons, yeah, they're super cool. They're super smart. We have these animals at the zoo called coatis, coatimundis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what those are.
They're, Melanie, if you don't know what coatis are, you should look them up. They're like South American raccoons, kind of. So we've got the first chapter of Half-Blood Prince, Lord Voldemort's request. Melanie, that is the chapter when Lord Voldemort visits Hogwarts and asks Dumbledore for a job.
Oh, that is pretty great. Swimming in the river about 3 years ago. Went to the shops. You had a bite on your neck. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a cliffhanger.
I know, the suspense now.
I know, right? This is some good chapter suggestions. And so then she looked at it and she thought it was a pimple, so then she popped it and out came a worm.
Oh. Oh.
Dang.
Oh my god. I would be freaking out.
Yeah, that's
Was
gross.
it one of those, what are they called? Like bot flies? Ugh. I would.
Yeah, right? Ugh. That's what Unipeg just said. Botfly?
Yeah.
Maybe? Like, ugh. Ugh.
I don't.
Ooh.
Oh my god. I would never go swimming in that river again.
Right? Ugh.
How did you feel about that, Kayla?
Right? Like, oh. Ugh.
I mean, like I've gotten leeches on me and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing.
No, it's not even
it's just under
close.
your
Leeches
skin.
don't go inside of you. Like, they just suck on your blood. Like, they just land on you. Like,
Went to the hospital and they sent me home. And about 2 days later, I had to have surgery to get it. Oh, it didn't all come out? Like there was still more in there?
oh.
Wait, like more of the worm, or was there like
More worms?
More worms?
I feel like you should see the botfly scene. Monsters inside me. So gross. How they pop out of the purse and they have it removed. It's disgusting, but I loved it. Heartworm from a mosquito. Oh.
Oh.
Good thing, God, good thing you got it out when you did, though.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I'm really glad you got it out.
It is a good chapter.
Oof.
We're talking about nastiness and like, oh yeah, the
Man.
chapter we're gonna read.
They found its home. Oh.
Ugh.
Oh man, now I'm gonna be like, I don't know.
Never wanting to swim in a body of water ever again.
Well, I guess if it was from a mosquito, it doesn't matter if you're swimming or not. You know, you just get it. But
Katie's like, I'm so glad I'm not eating right now.
um,
Me too. Oh.
I would be. I'm gonna
Jeez.
just now. I'm just gonna be popping anything that looks like a pimple or a bug bite. Just like
Right? Make sure it's not a fucking worm. God. Reminds me of the chapter in Fire and Blood where the girl comes back from taking Balerion
oh, and she has the
and she's all the fucking worms inside of
like
her.
people's faces.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of. Ugh.
They're mostly found in dogs.
Yeah, heartworm is like a
Yeah.
thing you treat your dog for. Yeah. Oh. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, I mean, I knew it was kind of like a worm, but I didn't know it Well, I'm really glad that you were able to find that before it became like a serious issue.
Right? God. Good on your mom for being like, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
But due to the heat, it's mainly from upper north. But I was the first case on the Sunshine Coast. Oh!
Well, congratulations.
Right? Yeah, we have, yeah, for us it's pretty much ticks. Like, that's it. Katie, we're in the same boat. It's like, no ticks.
Yeah. Actually, this year I got bit by my first tick.
I didn't get bit by a tick this year, but I found one on me this year and did not like that.
I mean, that's how rare they are, though, because, like, I spent most of my life
in the woods,
in wooded areas,
yeah,
in grassy areas, and this was the first time I'd ever been bitten by a tick. I found a couple on me before, but this is the first time one bit me. Luckily, I got it off, like, before it really had a chance to suck my blood or anything, so no risk of Lyme disease.
Usually the only time I see raccoons is them dead on the side of the road after cars have hit them.
Yeah, Lola's comforting me. She's like, don't focus on the worms, just focus on my fluffiness.
Bobans could comfort me if she wants to, but she's just sitting there being like, I don't know what, angry? Are you angry, Bobans?
But that's awesome that you got to share your sandwich with the raccoons.
I know, that's super cute. I'm kind of jealous that you got so close to the raccoons. Like I said, because we only ever see them like getting hit by cars.
I think it's just that the raccoons are more reclusive, like upstate. Or downstate, they can't like avoid people, so they've just become more acclimated to them.
That's true. I mean, we're in a more wooded area,
Mm.
so they're going to be a lot more nocturnal and... Yes, they are. Raccoons love going through garbage. We call them trash pandas for a reason.
Your mom got a call that you had to get to the hospital and removed ASAP. Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, I would be speeding.
Comfort me, Bobans.
Cop wants to pull me over. You can pull me over at the hospital. I'm not stopping until I get there. Write me a ticket while I'm getting my surgery done. Fine.
Bin chickens. Oh my.
Bin chicken. I like that. Bin chickens.
See, Bobans doesn't want to comfort me. She wants me to comfort her.
Bin foxes.
Oh, I'm sure, Melanie. We see dead deer all the time. All the time. We have to... In fall and winter, it's like we constantly have to be on the lookout for them. At night, too, because they'll just run across the road. Like, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
What are you doing? She just wants this. That's it.
They like to go through bins. Oh, the foxes? I could see that.
Foxes, yeah.
Foxes are so adorable. I'm glad we don't have any foxes around. Well, we do, but we never really see them. Because if I saw one, I would start feeding it. Being like, come on, buddy.
I know what you see on the road, Kayla. It's very sad. Kayla probably just sees roos all the time.
I mean, roos are kind of like Australian deer.
I know. They're everywhere. And if they're mid-jump, I don't know how you... What are you going to do, you know?
Just brace yourself for impact.
Like, break is... you like... The deer, they'll like run, stop, but like a kangaroo, mid-jump, can't stop itself. Like, ugh.
Well, the problem with deer is that they do stop.
I Australia, they hop, they can't stop. The United States, they do stop, and that's the problem. Like, yeah.
The raccoons have come into my house, into the inner porch.
But I haven't seen them.
there.
Oh.
Right near Flushing Bay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Live near LaGuardia, near Flushing. Yeah, so it's not... You're not, like, right in the heart of, like, the city. Like, you're
Don't
in the
feed
city,
the
but...
That's the point. I don't want it to leave. Foxes are adorable.
Don't feed the foxes. Oh. Oh,
Poor
no.
fox. See, that's the type of fox I would be feeding. Like, come here, buddy. Let me take care of you.
See, that's sad. Her mom hit a roo like that.
Ooh.
The tail. I'm sad.
It's okay. It's just...
But it's like deer. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes you cannot avoid the animal. It's just... Animal hair.
Roo bars, yeah. We have those up here, too. Big bars you put on the front of your car or truck. People put those big...
The big bar,
bars.
yeah.
People put them on because, yeah. Deer
Well,
cross
yeah,
the
if you
road.
only hit the tail, I'm sure it was fine.
Just must really sting.
Yeah, it probably just really hurt. It still hopped away.
Okay, good.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
I remember I hit a baby deer once, but I slammed on my brakes and I just hit it enough so it like fell over, and then I just stood up and ran away. But for a second, like, little baby deer, my heart like dropped. Just, oh god,
Yeah.
ran away. I'm like, okay, thank goodness.
I hit a doe.
What a dumb animal.
I hit a doe like 2 years ago on my way to work, but I had braked hard enough that I hit it, it fell over, but she got up, she was limping, but she like put weight on it, and she like walked into the forest like limping, so I'm like, I think she's okay.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Be alright.
I hit a rabbit once. That was terrible. I hated that. That was awful.
Oh man, if only someone had a kangaroo Patronus.
But someone does. Maybe
Maybe
I
that
wonder
would be
if
yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet my Patronus would actually be a kangaroo. That makes sense.
Saw my first live raccoon in the wild in the 1980s, the summer I was working at an upstate Girl Scout camp. I still haven't seen a raccoon in the wild, to be honest.
I've seen a couple, like, walking into the woods from the road. Oh, I can imagine old roads. Not just roos, but, like, I'm sure other things. Yeah, other animals, I bet.
I know, like, a lot of people hit a lot of snakes in Australia, too, because they'll be
Basking,
crossing the road
yeah,
and
yeah.
basking, yeah. I mean, we do up here, too, but all of our snakes are, like, little guys. Like, you don't know.
You're not even going to see them.
In Australia, some of the snakes you see are very big.
Well, that and some of the snakes in Australia are so venomous, like, do you want to risk moving it? No.
Well, no, but they're usually small enough that you can drive around.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm talking about, like, you know, pythons and stuff.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Queensland and New South Wales. Yeah, so I'm sure you came across a lot of wildlife there.
I'm doing an experiment. Oh,
no.
That's terrible.
Lola, comfort me.
Oh.
I need soft fuzziness right now.
Oh, that's awful. I'm just touching you. I'm trying to get you comfortable with this.
Yep.
See what I'm doing?
Hold on. Too much cuddling. I got nails in me. Okay, there we go.
So Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I wonder if anyone had a duck Patronus.
So we could do Lord Voldemort's request, or we could do the first chapter, either of which I am down for.
Sorry, now I'm just picturing someone that has like a goose Patronus. Those angry Canadian goose just flying at you.
The goose just tells the Dementors peace was never an option. I'm trying to get Boban's comfortable with the touching her butt.
Oh yeah, the potholes are bad. I also know in Australia you come across those like washboard roads where it just constantly goes up and down.
Regina says, any Sassy Harry chapters.
Sassy Harry chapters?
Sassy Harry is the best Harry.
I mean... Well, you know, we were talking about doing the Felix Felicis chapter. We still haven't done that one.
No, we haven't done the...
Harry isn't necessarily sassy, but...
He's great.
He's awesome in that one.
I guess you've given us some food for thought. Ooh, which is the most Sassy Harry chapter? Ooh.
Probably anything in Order of the Phoenix.
Okay. Katie, tell me if I'm wrong. I was just gonna say, you don't need to call me Sir, Professor, when he's in Defense Against the Dark Arts with Snape, and he says, no need to call me Sir, Professor. Oh, it's so good. Harry just... yeah. That's such a good moment.
A stag and then a minor Patronus or raccoon. Wait, are there major and minor Patronuses?
I don't know.
I didn't know that, but that would be cool to have a raccoon. I can't remember what mine was. I have to log in to
the news changes every day, you see. Yes. He says that to Vernon. The beginning of this book.
That's what I mean, Order of the Phoenix.
He does it to Dudley, too. Oh, glad you learned the days of the week, Dud.
All in Order of the Phoenix. Like, any chapter in Order of the Phoenix. I feel like there's some level of sass.
Holden Caulfield's Patronus is a duck. Oh.
That's great.
I know when I did the Pottermore thing, it told me that my Patronus was an eagle owl.
Oh, I remember. Mine's a squirrel.
Yes, it is.
Mine's a squirrel.
Yes, yours is a squirrel.
A gray squirrel, to be correct.
Yep, yours is a gray squirrel.
That's right, Dementors. Hide your nuts. Squirrel's coming for you.
But I mean, maybe it would change. Because I took that Patronus test. Like, Patronuses can change. Maybe now it would be a kangaroo.
Maybe next live stream we can do that. Start a little bit early and we can both retake the Patronus test and see if it's changed.
We could give it a shot. Yeah, Katie's is a lynx. It's pretty cool.
I know.
Same as Kingsley Shacklebolt. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Katie, don't retake the test. All right, you got an awesome Patronus. You're good. You won.
I don't think Eagle Owl is bad. I think Eagle Owl is pretty badass. Just like Squirrel.
I like it. You know,
it fits.
Who else has a squirrel? Wow. Okay. Ouch.
Come on, your Patronus is definitely a cat. I mean, maybe.
We need to roll the dice again and see if we can get a kangaroo.
Right. Maybe it really... I don't know. Could be a kangaroo now. Could be a cat. I don't know. Is it a kitty, Bobbans? Bobbans! Bobbans!
But yeah, anything else to say on this chapter? I guess we can talk about just how dismissive Dumbledore is. And knowing how the rest of the book goes, you really see how it is kind of rude, you know? He just walks in, doesn't say anything to Harry.
Dumbledore? Yeah.
Well, Sirius... I'm here to defend Harry. Oh, thanks, Dumbledore. Shut up. Not talking to you. Talking to Fudge. Let the big boys talk, Harry.
I mean, this is kind of a microcosm of the entire book, where Harry is just trying to explain and trying to be heard, and no one wants to hear him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't really have anything else about this chapter.
Well, yeah, now that you're talking, it does really represent, like, the entire book. Fudge doesn't want to hear about it. Harry tries to explain himself. No one listens. Dumbledore ignores him the whole time. Doesn't necessarily shoot down anything Harry says, but doesn't give him the time of day.
Yep.
And then you have Umbridge just being Umbridge.
Katie, I feel like she's like me with Snape. She's like, gotta defend Dumbledore. He's doing it for a good reason.
He
is. His intentions are to keep Harry safe and keep Voldemort from learning anything about what Dumbledore is doing. So, like, yes.
Not Harry Potter at all, but her favorite animal is a turtle. So I think her Patronus. I mean, maybe.
I know that Patronuses, though,
there.
but Patronuses are not based on what your favorite animal is.
Yeah.
It's based on a part of your personality, your inner person, maybe that you don't even recognize it. That's a part of you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Might be your favorite animal, though. Who knows?
Yeah, the next time Harry looks into Dumbledore's eyes, he wants to attack him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Dumbledore ignoring him. However, Dumbledore
made some mistakes, but Harry was also not in the right mindset.
No, he wasn't.
For any of this.
But a lot of things could have been a lot different if people had just communicated with each other a little more.
Yeah.
But that is part of the tragedy of it. And Dumbledore does own up to his mistakes at the end of this book.
That's true.
With the last prophecy. Like him and Harry, when they talk, like Dumbledore does own up to why he did what he did, but maybe there were certain things he could have done a little differently.
It only took the knowledge of his death quickly approaching to encourage him to do that, but still.
He didn't tell him everything, even there. No.
Only after death did he tell him everything.
Yep. Dumbledore. Always for the greater good.
And
But yeah,
sorry you didn't make it, Catherine.
You'll have to catch us this upcoming Thursday when we read something else. Another chapter. We'll figure it out. We've had some suggestions.
And maybe we'll redo our Pottermore quizzes to see if anything's changed.
Maybe the Patronus one. I don't think the
wand probably not.
The house test, but
or as well. So
I find Harry very relatable and valid in book 5. We don't have to talk about Caps Lock Harry.
I was gonna say, like, when I put him in like the shoes of a teenager and, you know, that angsty hormonal stage, like, I can justify it. But at this point, like, some of it just gets annoying.
Yeah, I enjoy Harry in book 5. Like, I get Harry in book 5. I get why people find it difficult, but, like...
Oh, a dolphin. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a dolphin is pretty cool.
I take that.
Me and Katie, defenders of Caps Lock Harry, forever and always.
You know what I might do as an experiment? Should go through Pottermore like a few different times and answer the Patronus questions the exact same every time and see how different the Patronus is that they give you,
right.
Or if it is different.
He does have a lot going on in book 5. He has so much going on in book 5.
He's going terrific, and I'm also glad Hermione tells him to stop biting their head. I mean, yeah. But that's what good friends do.
That's what good friends
do. They call you out on your BS.
They call you out on your BS, and they push you. Like at the end of book 5, when Harry is dead set that Sirius is in trouble, and Hermione tries so hard to get him to not rush
Breathe
off,
for a minute and
take 5 minutes, think this through. This isn't right. There's something about this that's not right. And she tries very hard to the point where they really butt heads very badly. But that's because she's his best friend, one of his best friends, and she will do that. It doesn't work, but she tries.
Yeah, I agree, Anna. I think if I read book 5 when I was in middle school, even high school, I probably would have emphasized with Harry a lot more.
I mean, I read book 5 when I was in high school. I think. No. I was about Harry's age when I read book 5, maybe 14.
That's what I mean. I feel like you're more likely to like agree with Harry if you read it when you were around the same age as Harry in that book.
I was 13 when I read this book.
Oh, okay.
So I was 13 when I read this book. But even now, at the age of 32, I get where Harry's coming from. I understand him.
Yeah.
I get it.
Dumbledore ignoring Harry for the entire book is wild to me. I don't understand his logic.
I do. I get the logic of it. But
I understand his reasoning, but it wasn't good reasoning.
Yeah, right? Like, I was ride or die Harry all through book 5. I was like, yeah, Harry, I get it. You tell him. This is bullshit. No one's telling you anything. This is fucked up.
Only have high school and primary school. Where I went to school, it was kind of the same. Like, middle school was just a title, because the middle school and high school were actually in the same building. And you just use the same building as the high schoolers, but you were considered a middle schooler for some reason.
Yeah, I get Dumbledore's reasoning. It makes sense. But when he looks at it in hindsight, he probably could have handled it differently. Like, he could have had a conversation with Harry about it. He didn't.
Yeah.
You know, but I get Dumbledore's decision to do what he did. And then I also empathize with Harry the entire time.
Also, you see how caps lock Harry is. I mean, do you want to have a conversation with that?
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Like, oh, I do not have the energy to deal with this kid today.
Wow.
I'll tell him tomorrow.
1 year later. Oh, hello, Bailey. Hello, Dee Dee.
I mean, the grades kind of go with the school years, you know. The only difference is if you started in kindergarten or pre-K, then it might be different. But like, I went straight to kindergarten. I didn't do pre-K.
I did preschool in North Carolina. And then came back up here and did kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Wow, I can smell him.
Well, today's his weekly birthday. I just haven't done it
Yeah,
yet.
you literally just scratched him, and as you brought your hand
You got
over,
Bailey smell,
I
dog
got a
smell.
big whiff of Bailey. Yeah, wow. He wants uppies, I think.
Oh, okay. Man, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be homeschooled so bad. Because I had a couple kids in my grade who were like homeschooled up until high school, and then they came. And they were talking about how they like used to sleep in till like 9 o'clock and stuff. And they would start school, and they didn't have to wake up at 5 to catch the bus or get driven to school. And I'm just like,
That sounds
can
nice.
I do that?
Right? That sounds nice.
I want to be homeschooled.
Oh.
That's usually how it is. I don't know why I went straight to kindergarten.
Years and then another one. Oh boy, Katie.
Some of our favorite relationships in the book.
Then we're gonna have to probably call it good. We got to get ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Gives us an hour to get ready before we have to leave. A little less than that.
You know, I really love Ron and Hermione's. Just always so funny and so sassy between them. Like, from the very beginning, they were made for each other.
They really are.
And the conversations that they have are just great always.
Favorite relationships in the books.
Outside of that, I mean, almost any relationship with Dumbledore. For one reason or another.
I really do love the Harry Dumbledore relationship a lot. How it grows and evolves and how it culminates. I really, really enjoy Harry and Dumbledore. I really, really enjoy Harry and Snape. Love Harry and Snape. Love the complexity of Harry and Snape. Love that.
Snape and Neville is also great.
Snape and Neville.
But I don't think that's as complex. It's more just funny. But I think I gotta say Ron and Hermione, just because of all the layers and different complexities of emotions that evolve over time.
How their relationship develops.
Yeah. I thought it was great.
Yeah, Snape and Harry, Dumbledore and Harry, Dumbledore and Snape. Just the three of them. Love that.
Dumbledore
All
plus
three of them.
anyone can be a great relationship.
That's true. Dumbledore and anyone is always a good time. I just love the three of them and how it all interlocks and connects together. Their relationship with each other is brilliant. It's one of my favorite things about the whole series. It's just the three of them.
Oh man, too bad Dan wasn't here. So I know he would say, "I don't know what's my favorite, but I do know what's my least favorite."
Lupin and Tonks.
Lupin and Tonks.
He hates it so much. Hates it, precious. Hates it. Your Norse god fell on the floor.
Oh no, I'll get that in a second. Mom quit nursing, so our family, she did family daycare, and so see, that's cool. That's awesome. Like, you got to have that direct nurturing from your mom all the time.
Definitely. Sirius and Harry is great too. Sirius and Snape is great.
That's true.
Sirius and Snape are fucking great. I also really love Harry and Dobby.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Harry and Creature.
Harry and Creature, yeah. Oh my god, Harry and Creature. So good. Yeah, those... If I had to pick top favorite, though, Snape, Harry, Dumbledore probably would be my ride or die.
The triangle.
But, yeah, that triangle.
What would that even be?
Harry's...
If him, Ron, and Hermione are the golden trio, what are they?
The
secret trio.
The secrets kept trio. The
Oops, I forgot to tell you trio.
the oops, I forgot. The dysfunctional trio. The
blind trio.
why? What's wrong with them? I don't mean in a romantic way. I mean,
Oh God.
no.
Yeah, please,
Ew,
no.
no. Ew, no. Yeah, the dysfunctional trio, maybe. I don't know.
That I'm gonna work on that. What we call that trio.
Dumbledore, Snape, and
Yeah.
Harry. All right. I know, because you've got the golden trio, and then you have the silver trio of Ginny, Luna, and Neville.
Yep.
So,
Possibly the golden trio.
what are you doing over there?
But
On that note, though, I think we do have to.
do we?
We do.
I guess it is for you.
Yeah. Oh.
Hate Snape and Dumbledore. Oh.
Oh my God, Katie. She hates Snape and Dumbledore. What?
I mean, I'm 50% with her.
Wow. Wow.
Bet you can't guess which 50%.
On that note,
It's kind of easy.
oh,
Dumbledore, McGonagall, and Snape as a trio. The
Right.
Platinum Trio. Ooh, I like that. The Platinum Trio.
the Platinum Trio. Great hot take, Kayla. She hates them. Jeez. Oh my God.
Maybe Snape, Harry, and Dumbledore could be like the Uranium Trio because they degrade over time.
No, they don't. They get better. They get better as the books go on.
Snape dies, and
So does
it's
Dumbledore.
called
So
a
does Harry.
half-life. Slowly falls apart.
My God. No.
A little nuclear physics joke for you.
All right, Wayne. On that note, we
All
have
right.
to go. We have a Christmas party to go to today.
Christmas party after the New Year. Late Christmas party. Either way. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday. Everyone have a good night, good morning, good afternoon.
And we will see you all soon.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.